Every time I've said that, someone has said to me, oh, you're being paranoid. How many times, you let me know down below in the comment section, how many times you have been told when you have a gut feeling about something, or something feels off, or you're not sure about something, or someone's gone, oh, you're just being paranoid. It's all in your head. Okay, this is why they say it to you, because they know perfectly well there is nothing stronger than a woman's intuition. What is up, people? Welcome back or to another video. A very warm welcome to those who are both old and new on this channel. I'm super grateful to have you come and join us for another video. The other day, guys, I got caught in a bit of a rabbit hole. I'm not gonna lie. I try not to get into doom scrolling, but the other day I could not help it when I came across this shared post on Facebook about ChatGPT. There were a few lessons to learn from it as well. But before we get into that, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a massive thumbs up. It really helps push this content out for those in need of a child-free community like so. And if you haven't already, you can check out my membership. If you click the join button down below, you can see all that is available to you. And if you haven't seen my very own, personally designed by moi, child-free rant journal, check it out. It's in the description box and the comment section, link down below. Check it out. But let's get into it. Okay, so I actually came across this post on Facebook. It was shared originally on Instagram and TikTok by a content creator called Social by Bree. And she asked ChatGPT this question, and it honestly raised a couple of eyebrows. I thought it was a joke at first until I ended up in a scroll hole. So let's go through it. She posted, if you were Satan and wanted to stop a young woman from meeting her potential and fulfilling her life's purpose, how would you do it? So I thought, oh, that's a bit of a weird question. Why would you ask that? I don't use this stuff. I've not really experimented with AI. I just find it a bit Black Mirror-ish and a bit creepy. But the responses that she got from this platform were very telling. Let's go into it. So if I was Satan and wanted to stop a young woman from meeting her potential and fulfilling her life's purpose, I would target her mind, emotions, and surroundings to create a sense of self-doubt, confusion, and discouragement. My goal would be to keep her stuck, distracted, and disconnected from her true path. Here's how I do it. But if this on its own wasn't enough to raise your eyebrows, I don't know what is. Can we actually just break this down a little bit more? Is this not what I'm always talking about when women, from the day that they are born, are shoved down their throat the idea that motherhood is the answer, and that this is the way forward, this is the way to fulfillment, this is the way that you're gonna find meaning in your life? Can we just look at some of the very telling words that this has said, this computer or AI, whatever it is? I would target her mind, emotions, and surroundings to create a sense of self-doubt, confusion, and discouragement. My goal would be to keep her stuck, distracted, and disconnected. So you tell me, in many, many forms and in many ways, may not always be the case, but is motherhood not the ultimate way to keep someone distracted, disconnected, and fucking stuck? Undermine her self-doubt. I'd plant seeds of insecurity, making her constantly question her value. She'd focus on her perceived flaws and weaknesses rather than her strengths and potential. By keeping her self-esteem low, she would struggle to believe she deserves a success or happiness. But wait for it, as these go on, you're just gonna be more and more fucking horrified as I keep going through them. Number 2, create toxic relationships. I'd encourage her to surround herself with negative, toxic, and manipulative people who drain her energy, undermine her dreams, and discourage her from growing. Whether through unhealthy relationships, romantic relationships, or even family dynamics, these people would keep her from focusing on her goals. Have I not mentioned this before? That there are certain people in your life that when you are with them, whether they're family, friends, partners, that if they can see that you have potential and that you have a zest for life and that you have plans to go travel, start a business, join medical school, law school, whatever it is that you want to fucking do with your life, and these toxic people are constantly undermining you, you know, what you doing that for, you know, creating like, just putting doubt in your head. We are fed the constant idea that we need to be in a constant cycle of self-doubt, insecurity, you know, being unsure of ourselves, you know, being in a state of confusion, a state of constant, like, emotionally, like, irrational, all of this stuff. And it just goes back to the first point as well, planting seeds of insecurity, making her constantly question her value. This is this or is this not what society's basically always fucking doing with women? And when you're not like this, when you do know your worth and your confidence and you stand your ground and, you know, you go for your dreams, that's why it's not taken too well. Number 3, fuel the fear of failure. I'd amplify her fear of failure, making her terrified of taking risks or trying new things. She'd stay in her comfort zone, avoiding the challenges that would lead to growth. The fear of embarrassment or rejection would keep her from pursuing her purpose. So like I said before, even if this is a joke, guys, even if this is like highly exaggerated, this is just bang on point either way. Because is that not what women are like programmed to do? We're like, so many women I chat to, they won't start something new because they're too scared of failing. They're too scared of looking stupid, or they're too scared of making a show of themselves. And I know this firsthand from when I used to work in a gym as a personal trainer. There were so many women who would start their fitness journeys after years and years of like umming and ahhing about it. And I would always say to them, well, why now? Why have you taken 5, 10, 15 years to step foot in a fucking gym? Always, always, always the answer was fear of failure. It always came back down to that. Number 4, distract her with superficial goals. I'd shift her focus away from her true calling by making her prioritize materialism, popularity, or external validation. What did we say about external validation, people? I'll come back to that. She would chase after short-term rewards, money, status, appearance, while neglecting her inner development and long-term purpose. So what have I said before about external validation? A lot of women end up in motherhood or trapped into motherhood or choose motherhood. There are several ways that they get into it in the first place, but a lot of the time it's for that external validation. It's so that they can belong. It's so that they can be accepted. It's so that people like don't alienate them or isolate them. It's because they are shit scared of, again, going back to the other point, doing something wrong, you know, being an embarrassment, being a failure. It all ties in with one another and makes perfect fucking sense. Instill a victim mentality. I'd encourage her to feel like life is happening to her rather than for her by convincing her that she's powerless in the face of her circumstances. I'd keep her from taking control of her destiny. She'd blame external factors instead of seeing the power she has within herself to change her life. Number 6, create constant comparisons. Guys, this was just like, when I tell you I was in a rabbit hole, I was like, oh my God, what's next? Create constant comparisons. Like, I'd ensure that she constantly compares herself to others, feeling inferior or jealous of their achievements. Social media would become a tool for self-criticism, where she believes everyone else is doing better than her. This would sap her motivation and make her feel like she is never enough. Guys, let's take a seat. If you haven't already, take a seat. I hope you've got a drink with you as well that you can sip on gently. But for real, this is just so true, because is this not what like society and social media and the actual media do to women, whether they're celebrities, whether they're just like normal people like you and I? You know, they pit women against each other all the time, because that's the only way we can keep us in a disempowered state, is if we're constantly in comparison with one another, constantly like bitching and backstabbing, and you know, in this constant, like, these two tie into one another, 5 and 6 tie into one another, where it's like create that victim mentality. You know, it is natural to feel that envy, and some women can't control their jealousy. So when they see other people online, or, you know, other people that they meet in life, even if their life isn't perfect, because nobody's really perfect, nobody's life is perfect, even for celebrities and millionaires, they instantly think like, oh, they've got something I can't have. And that goes back to point number 5, where she'd blame external factors instead of seeing the power she has within herself to change her mind and to change her life. We all have that power within ourselves to change our lives, believe it or not. We are just programmed to believe that we can't. Number 7 is promote perfectionism. I'd make her believe that anything less than perfect isn't worth doing. She'd become paralyzed by the idea that she has to be flawless in every aspect of her life, whether it's her career, relationships, or appearance, leading to procrastination and stagnation. Guys, every single woman I've met is either a perfectionist or a recovering perfectionist, or they're in the process of like coming out of perfectionism. Every single woman I've spoken to, from any walk of life, any fucking star sign, you know, any age or background, has struggled with this to some degree. And it is literally because, again, all these points tie into everything. They tie into that, you know, that fear of failure, that like, I'm not going to start it unless it's going to be perfection. But of course, perfection doesn't exist. So we're constantly in a trap of chasing something that is actually a fantasy. It's not fucking real. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, perfectionism isn't real. Doesn't matter how much you think it is or how much you strive for it in your own life. It doesn't exist. You're just wasting your damn time. And it just makes you think back to how society portrays to women, is that if it's anything less than perfect, it isn't worth doing. And how many women do you know, and people, I guess, but in this case, I am speaking just about women. But for women, how many do you know who, you know, they haven't gone for that career change. They haven't tried to start the business. They didn't go and book that solo trip because they're too scared of the unknown, or like, oh, you know, what if it goes wrong? What if this happens? Or what if that happens? And they just stop themselves from doing so many things and gaining so much in their lives because they are paralyzed by perfectionism. Guys, drop it. I dropped it ages ago and my life is so much fucking better now, literally. So number 8, discourage emotional healing. I'd make her avoid addressing her emotional wounds or past trauma, convincing her that healing is unnecessary or too painful. By keeping her unhealed, I'll ensure that old wounds and unresolved pain continue to hold her back and sabotage her future relationships and decisions. And yeah, guys, you know what? Healing can be fucking painful. I know it myself from years of therapy. Healing is painful, it's messy, it's ugly. But do you know what's uglier? Staying in the same place. Do you know what's worse? Staying in the same place. There's nothing worse than being the same fucking person that you were like 100 years ago or 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. Like, we are always ever evolving. And, you know, our trauma and past offense or whatever it is that you feel like you need healing from is not something to run from. It's not something to be embarrassed by. It's something to look at as a kind of way to move forward, to process triggers. You know, anything that you read online or that you see that upsets you or triggers you, that's a highlight to kind of like, right, how can I improve? Where can I go with this? And this is another thing society likes. They don't like it when women obviously heal, because then we feel better about ourselves. When we feel better about ourselves, what do? We take action on our goals. You know, we put boundaries down. We start making more money. Society doesn't want this. It's a big secret. Not so big secret. Let's move on. Number 9. Foster burnout and overwhelm. Let me know if you've struggled with overwhelm or burnout down below. I think so many people can resonate with this. I'd encourage her to take on too many responsibilities, causing her to spread herself thin and eventually burn out. By overwhelming her with stress, I'd keep her from focusing on her true purpose of making meaningful progress in one area. So you tell me exactly why so many women are encouraged into delving into the kind of the chaos and the deep kind of responsibility and the permanentness, if that's even a fucking word, of motherhood, when the first thing it actually does is actually give someone overwhelm and burnout. And if there is someone who is more likely to suffer with overwhelm and burnout due to either the way their brain functions or due to their personal career or just their life in general, how do you think they're going to deal with motherhood? Well, they're going to be straight up burnt out within 5 minutes. They're going to be burnt out before they even start. And of course, this is, you know, encouraging people to take on too many responsibilities. How many women do you see online bragging about, oh, you know, super mom, I do it all, you know, not all heroes wear capes, and all of these like kind of encouraging posts. And it's like, yeah, it's all great that you're encouraging one another, but you're encouraging one another to burn out. This is not good. You know, you're encouraging one another to, take on so many responsibilities that you are mentally and physically burnt out, that you cannot even, take care of yourself. Because what happens when women cannot take care of themselves, when they are overwhelmed and when they are burnt out, what happens is they self-neglect. And then, of course, when you self-neglect, you have low confidence, low boundaries, lack of self-esteem, more confusion, you're more irrational, you're more emotional, you're not in control of your emotions, basically. Number 10. Normalize settling for less. Oh God. I'd convince her that it's easier and safer to settle for mediocrity, whether in her career, relationships, or personal growth. She'd believe that pursuing her dreams is too risky or unrealistic. So she'd settle for a life of comfort and conformity rather than pushing forward for her potential. Oh my God, guys. Number 10. Let me know if you have had this before. Either if you wanted to set up a business, or if you wanted to delve into a career that requires like a lot of studying, for example, or there's like, it's kind of like high risk, high reward type of thing. I know I definitely experienced this when I set up my first online fitness business back in like 2020. And so many people were literally like, why are you doing that? It's so risky. You're going to waste a lot of money. Your investments aren't going to come through and all of this crap. And I was just discouraged from day one. And I can't even tell you how hard it was to work around, people with that mindset who are constantly breaking down your dreams and your aspirations and your goals. And it's so hard to stay motivated like that. So this point here just made me think back to that time when, we're constantly told to just settle for like, oh, stop being too ambitious, stop being so bossy, stop trying to be this, stop trying to be that, because it's an intimidation for so many people to come across an ambitious woman. And this is why ambitious women are constantly, slated. They're kind of called like, you want too much, you're asking for too much, you're greedy. Oh my God, that's another one. You're greedy when you want to strive for more. It is honestly, guys, can you see why I ended up in a rabbit hole here? Fuel imposter syndrome. Okay, I'd make her feel like a fraud whenever she achieves success, convincing her that she doesn't really deserve it. No matter how much progress she makes, she'd always feel like she's faking it, or the fear of being found out, which would hold her back from fully stepping into her power. Oh my God, guys. I've got so many stories on this, but this video is already going to be like really fucking long. But there are so many ways that I've struggled with this, and I've caught myself out so many times being like, oh, you know what? That was just a fluke. That was just a one-off. I was just really lucky. And I'm like, no, motherfucker. I worked hard for that motherfucking thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Block her connection to intuition or faith. I'd weaken her connection to her inner wisdom, intuition, or any spiritual guidance she might rely on. By creating doubt in her own instincts or in a higher purpose, I'd keep her disconnected from the inner clarity she needs to make aligned decisions. Boom! Okay, so this number 12, let me tell you all about it. Because if you're someone who's highly intuitive like me, and I can smell shit from 50 miles away, I don't care how nice someone's being to my face. If I don't like what I'm feeling, I know my intuition is never wrong, ever. It has never let me down. The only time I've let myself down is when I didn't listen to my intuition, when it was trying to tell me something about a certain someone or a certain situation. And all my life, every time someone said, oh, what do you mean about X person or X situation? I've said, oh, I don't know what it is. I just have a gut feeling, right? It's called a gut instinct. Every time I've said that, someone has said to me, oh, you're being paranoid. How many times, you let me know down below in the comment section, how many times you have been told when you have a gut feeling about something, or something feels off, or you're not sure about something or someone's gone, oh, you're just being paranoid. It's all in your head. Okay, this is why they say it to you, because they know perfectly well there is nothing stronger than a woman's intuition. And trust me, when I say this, never ever ignore that intuition, because I've done it with so many people. I've done it with so many situations where my instinct has been screaming at me, no, no, no. And I've gone ahead with it, and I can't even tell you the fireworks at the end. Never ever doubt your intuition. There is a reason it's called that. It's called inner tuition. It's because it's something from inside trying to tell you something. And I hear this a lot when I hear about regretful stories online. of women who got roped into motherhood, who got pressured into motherhood, made to feel bad about not being a mum, made to feel selfish about choosing the child-free lifestyle. And they were told, you know what? I never wanted kids growing up, and then XYZ convinced me, and now I regret my choices. And do you know what that is? That is that person going against their instincts and being manipulated, basically, having their minds manipulated, being coerced into a decision that they did not want, and that their intuition was telling them from ages ago, I don't want this. This isn't for me. And they've gone against that gut instinct. You are not paranoid. It is your body trying to tell you something. That's why sometimes some people feel it in their gut. They call it a gut instinct. For me, it's my chest. I always feel it right here. I feel like a pressing sensation on my chest. When I get a wrong feeling about someone or a certain situation, my chest feels like someone's literally pressing on it. And that's when I know I'm right, and I will go with that gut instinct. So I read this and I was like, damn, AI is misogynistic AF. Tell me what else you guys think down below, or any other pointers you would like to add. You know I love hearing from you guys. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a massive thumbs up, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.